People that worked on Harry's rehabilitation for those 4 days he was in the UK are definitely slumped under their dress.
The fragile ties between Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, and the royal family have long been under the world's microscope, but this latest revelation has ignited an even bigger storm. Reports claim Meghan has leaked shocking intimate details from a private meeting King Charles held concerning Harry, and the contents are anything but flattering. What was meant to remain behind palace doors is now sparking global debate, painting a troubling picture of family rifts and royal secrets. What exactly did Meghan expose about Charles's private words on Harry? From private reunion to global headlines, Prince Harry's recent 4-day trip to the United Kingdom, which was meant to be a private and quiet opportunity to reconnect with his father, King Charles, unexpectedly turned into a whirlwind of public attention and media frenzy. Originally envisioned as a chance for father and son to rebuild their bond away from the prying eyes of the press, the reunion quickly became the center of intense global scrutiny. What was meant to be a personal, almost intimate moment of reconciliation instead exploded into headline news almost as soon as the first meeting concluded, with journalists and tabloids eagerly reporting every detail. Reports flooded the media almost immediately, describing touching and sometimes emotional interactions between father and son. Observers recounted moments of heartfelt laughter, tears shed in private corners, and gentle embraces that seemed to hint at a tentative rebuilding of trust. Yet, the very private nature of these interactions only made the story more tantalizing, as the public was offered a glimpse of royal emotions that are rarely shared outside palace walls. For many, it was a dramatic and almost cinematic portrayal of family reconciliation, full of warmth, vulnerability, and high stakes. What made the situation even more explosive, however, was the question of how these deeply personal details became public so quickly. Analysts and royal watchers widely speculated that the information did not come from King Charles himself, who is famously discreet and fiercely protective of his private life. Instead, sources suggested that the leak likely originated from Prince Harry and, by extension, Meghan Markle.
Okay, and I was like, should I wear these earrings? Are these a British designer? I just ordered these online. Is this good?
This theory added another layer of intrigue, suggesting that the Duchess of Sussex may have had a hand in carefully directing which moments would reach the media and how they would be portrayed. Months of meticulous planning for the reunion, crafted to ensure a smooth, private, and controlled reconciliation, seemed to unravel within hours. Those responsible for managing the visit and its optics were reportedly left frustrated, as strategies for discretion crumbled under the relentless curiosity of the press. The leaks and media coverage not only undermined the immediate purpose of the reunion, but also fueled speculation, criticism, and renewed tension within the royal family. Each shared detail, from a laugh to a tear, was dissected and debated by journalists and the public alike, amplifying the sense of drama and transforming what should have been a personal family moment into a global spectacle. In the end, the 4-day visit serves as a stark illustration of how delicate family relationships, especially within a high-profile royal context, can be instantly complicated by public exposure. What was intended as a private, restorative encounter instead became a vivid reminder that in today's world, even the most personal moments can be propelled into the public arena, magnifying tensions, sparking debate, and leaving lasting impressions on both the family and the world watching. Royal secrets exposed, trust hanging by a thread, and private emotions broadcast worldwide. But did Meghan Markle deliberately turn a personal father-son reunion into a media spectacle? And how far should private family moments be shared for public attention? Let's uncover the details. Meghan Markle's role in leaking details. Recent reports suggest that Meghan Markle played a far more active role than previously understood in shaping what the world saw of Prince Harry's highly anticipated reunion with King Charles. Far from being a mere observer, Meghan appears to have carefully curated which details of the private father-son interactions were allowed to reach the public. Every laugh, tear, and intimate gesture was filtered through her influence, ensuring that Harry's personal reactions and even his heartfelt conversations with Charles became front-page stories across newspapers, magazines, and online platforms around the world. What was supposed to be a quiet, personal attempt at mending fractured family bonds instead became a highly visible spectacle. Observers have pointed out that turning private reconciliation moments into widely shared stories requires a deliberate strategy, and according to insiders, Meghan was at the center of it. By selectively releasing certain details, she shaped the narrative in a way that portrayed Harry as both emotionally vulnerable and deeply reflective, heightening public empathy for the Duke of Sussex. Every embrace, every word of apology or explanation, every hint of joy or frustration was amplified far beyond the walls of Clarence House, the King's London residence.
Him as my father-in-law was really important to me. So I asked him to walk me down the aisle, and he said yes.
Critics argue that this approach crossed a critical line between privacy and publicity. By emphasizing the emotional content of Harry's conversations and interactions, Meghan's strategy appeared to place public perception above discretion. In doing so, she effectively positioned herself as the ultimate gatekeeper of Harry's personal story, guiding global audiences through a carefully managed portrayal of family reconciliation. For some observers, this strategy not only overshadowed the genuine attempts at mending royal relationships, but also made private healing feel performative, almost staged. The consequences of this controlled exposure were immediate and far-reaching. The leaks sparked intense debate worldwide about the ethics of broadcasting deeply personal family moments. Commentators questioned whether it is ever acceptable to turn private reconciliation into a public narrative, especially when it involves sensitive dynamics within a high-profile family like the royals. At the same time, the revelations amplified tension between Harry and his relatives, highlighting existing strains with his father, King Charles, and brother, Prince William. By making what should have been a private step toward understanding and healing into a public affair, Meghan's involvement ensured that the reunion was discussed more as a media event than a personal family milestone. In the end, what these reports make clear is that Meghan Markle's influence over what information reached the press was not incidental. It was a decisive factor in how the reunion was perceived. Every shared detail, every carefully timed story reinforced her role as a key architect of Harry's public narrative, leaving both royal observers and the global audience debating the fine line between transparency, media strategy, and privacy. The episode underscores how, in the modern age, even the most personal family moments can become global stories when carefully curated, and how one individual's decisions can turn reconciliation into a worldwide spectacle. Harry's private reunion with Charles erupted into global headlines, driven entirely by Meghan Markle. But what intimate details did she reveal? Now let's unravel King Charles's stern warning to Prince Harry. A private tea turned public storm. Less than 2 weeks ago, Prince Harry and King Charles met quietly within the historic walls of Clarence House for a private, heartfelt reunion. Lasting under an hour, the meeting was intended as a simple tea, a rare moment for father and son to reconnect away from the unrelenting eyes of the press. It offered a space for candid conversation, gentle reflection, and emotional honesty, a chance to mend strained bonds and rebuild trust. In this brief encounter, striving to reconcile personal feelings with centuries of expectation. Yet what was meant to remain behind closed doors did not stay private for long. According to reports now circulating in the media, King Charles took the opportunity to deliver a firm but measured message to Harry. He reportedly stressed, in no uncertain terms, that Harry could not continue as a half-in, half-out royal, a man attempting to straddle the demanding responsibilities of official royal duties while simultaneously pursuing commercial ventures and personal business projects. This was not a lecture, but a boundary-setting moment, a reminder of the careful balance required when one is part of the monarchy. The weight of King Charles' private warning to Prince Harry would have remained confined to the quiet room of Clarence House, had Meghan Markle not intervened. According to sources, intimate details from their conversation were leaked, transforming what should have been a thoughtful, personal exchange into a worldwide talking point. Suddenly, words meant only for Harry's ears. His father's caution, concern, and fatherly guidance dominated headlines, trending across newspapers, online platforms, and social media. Every subtle gesture, every careful phrase was dissected and amplified, turning private counsel into public spectacle. This unprecedented exposure reshaped how audiences perceived both Harry and the monarchy, blurring the line between personal family moments and global news. By releasing these private exchanges, Meghan Markle's role in shaping the story became undeniable. What was meant to be a quiet, personal moment between father and son instead erupted into a global spectacle, drawing intense media attention and endless commentary from royal watchers.
When girls are given the right tools to succeed, they can create incredible futures.
Every laugh, tear, and heartfelt word was dissected, turning private reconciliation into public debate. Observers questioned whether the leak was a deliberate strategy to craft Harry's image, highlighting his vulnerability, emotional depth, and distance from royal conventions, or whether it simply reflected personal impulses. Either way, it blurred the line between private family life and public storytelling, leaving lasting intrigue. Whatever the motivation, the consequences were clear. A simple tea between father and son became a flashpoint for scrutiny, fueling speculation about Harry's role in the monarchy and intensifying the ongoing conversation about the couple's relationship with royal protocol. The measured, private guidance offered by King Charles now existed under the relentless glare of public attention, its intention blurred, its impact magnified, and its significance debated worldwide. Meghan turned intimate advice into headline news, sparking global scrutiny. But what ripple effects did this revelation cause? Now, let's explore how these leaks widened the divide between the brothers and King Charles. Fractured bonds and public drama. Even before the leaks, the relationship between Prince Harry, Prince William, and King Charles was delicate, marked by years of tension, misunderstandings, and differing expectations. What was supposed to be a private, carefully orchestrated reunion between father and son quickly turned into something much more public, and the fallout was immediate. Reports suggest that while the reunion itself carried moments of warmth, laughter, and heartfelt exchanges, the subsequent media coverage reignited old disagreements and highlighted the fragile state of family bonds. At the heart of the tension was a clash of personalities and priorities. Prince William has long been seen as the dutiful royal, someone who meticulously adheres to tradition, protocol, and the responsibilities expected of his station. Harry, by contrast, has pursued a more public-facing role, blending his royal duties with personal projects, media appearances, and charitable initiatives. For William, this difference in approach may have seemed reckless or at odds with the expectations of the monarchy. For Harry, it represented a desire for independence and self-expression. Into this already complex dynamic stepped Meghan Markle, whose influence on what information was shared amplified the divide. By selectively leaking intimate details of the reunion, whether intentional or not, every hug, tearful conversation, and personal insight became fodder for headlines, magnifying the differences in approach between the brothers.
It just kept growing.
What might have been a private step toward reconciliation instead became a mirror reflecting unresolved conflicts and contrasting visions of royal life. Experts and observers highlight that the leaks seriously unsettled the fragile equilibrium of royal family diplomacy. In families under constant public scrutiny, especially the monarchy, discretion is crucial. Private conversations give space for emotions to calm, grievances to be shared safely, and trust to gradually mend. By letting these intimate moments reach the public, Meghan Markle, whether intentionally or not, added immense pressure on everyone involved. Suddenly, each word, gesture, and glance became a subject of intense media analysis and public debate. What should have been a confidential step toward healing instead transformed into a spectacle of scrutiny, magnifying tensions and complicating reconciliation. The broader consequence is a widening rift, not just between Harry and William, but also in Harry's relationship with King Charles. Where there might have been a tentative path to understanding, the leaks made negotiations more complicated and trust harder to rebuild. Analysts suggest that by transforming intimate, sensitive moments into public stories, Meghan's actions created ripple effects that will likely influence the monarchy's internal dynamics for years. The once private effort to repair familial bonds became entangled with questions of media strategy, personal motives, and public perception, turning what should have been a quiet step toward healing into a dramatic, ongoing saga that continues to capture global attention. Meghan's leaks turned private royal moments into a worldwide family spectacle. But did she deliberately shape Harry's reunion for global headlines? And were these intimate moments genuine or carefully crafted for maximum public impact? Let's find out. Media manipulation and public perception. The disclosure of deeply personal family moments was far from accidental. It reflected a deliberate strategy to influence public perception. In the aftermath of Prince Harry's reunion with King Charles, what should have been quiet, private exchanges quickly exploded across headlines worldwide.
I safely say from my experience and all the traveling that I've done all over the world, speaking to people.
Every gentle embrace, tearful glance, and sincere word was scrutinized, reported, and dissected, transforming intimate father-son interactions into a global spectacle. These revelations offered audiences a vivid glimpse into a family navigating long-standing tensions, fragile reconciliation, and unspoken conflicts, highlighting the delicate balance between private healing and the power of media in shaping how the royal family is seen. Insiders reveal that Meghan Markle played a crucial role in controlling which details about Prince Harry's reunion with King Charles reached the public. Far from leaving the story to chance, she carefully curated the narrative, ensuring that Harry's emotional moments, vulnerable reactions, and heartfelt exchanges were prominently highlighted. Media outlets like US Weekly and other sympathetic platforms swiftly amplified this portrayal, framing Harry not as a rebellious or defiant royal, but as a sensitive, emotionally open son navigating the delicate challenges of family dynamics and royal expectations. This carefully crafted narrative cast him in a compassionate, relatable light, focusing on his personal struggles rather than tradition or protocol, and drew global audiences into the emotional journey of his story. The result was a dramatic shift in how the royal family's image was perceived. Long-standing traditions of discretion, private counsel, and behind-the-scenes resolution were overshadowed by a media spectacle that highlighted every tear, hug, and private conversation. The leaks blurred the line between genuine emotional moments and calculated narrative construction, leaving audiences to wonder whether these intimate exposures were spontaneous or strategically planned. Observers noted that the story being told was not just about a father and son reconnecting. It was a story curated to evoke public empathy, frame Harry as a relatable figure, and subtly influence how the monarchy was perceived in global discourse. By controlling the narrative, Meghan and Harry demonstrated the immense power of the media in shaping public opinion. Strategic leaking became a tool for asserting influence, positioning Harry's personal experiences at the center of a global conversation, while simultaneously challenging traditional norms of royal discretion. Every shared detail, while deeply personal, served to reinforce the image of Harry as a son caught between duty and emotion, and Meghan as the guiding force managing the story. Ultimately, this approach showed the profound ways in which modern royals navigate the intersection of family, media, and public perception. What might have been a private reconciliation became, instead, a worldwide discussion, an intricate display of how leaks, carefully controlled and widely amplified, can shape the story of a family, a monarchy, and the hearts and minds of audiences across the globe. Intimate father-son moments leaked by Meghan sparked global debate over royal privacy. But will this reshape public perception? And what does this mean for royal privacy and legacy? Let's delve into the details. Global repercussions. The fallout from the leaks stretched far beyond Clarence House, capturing the attention of the entire world and igniting discussions across continents. What was meant to be a quiet, private reunion between Prince Harry and King Charles suddenly became a global story, dissected by media from London to New York, Sydney to Tokyo. Every detail, from tender exchanges to emotional conversations, was analyzed and debated. Observers suggested that these interactions were more than simple father-son moments. They reflected deeper struggles within the monarchy itself, highlighting the tension between tradition and modernity, the pressures of public scrutiny, and the fragile balance of trust, duty, and family loyalty at the heart of royal life. By revealing deeply personal moments, Meghan Markle transformed what was meant to be a private father-son reunion into a worldwide spectacle. Every gentle touch, heartfelt word, and emotional exchange between Prince Harry and King Charles was dissected, analyzed, and debated across the media. What should have remained an intimate attempt at reconciliation instead became a global conversation, with audiences everywhere drawn into a drama never intended for public eyes. In doing so, the delicate balance between private healing and public fascination was shattered, leaving royal observers questioning intentions, motives, and the true cost of exposure.
Yeah, we've got it kind of it's good to go with it.
The very purpose of the reunion, to repair bonds, rebuild trust, and foster understanding, was overshadowed by the frenzy of media coverage. Instead of witnessing a father and son quietly navigating decades of estrangement, the public saw carefully selected fragments, chosen for their emotional impact, amplified and scrutinized without context. The global attention on Harry and Charles's reunion sparked widespread confusion about its true purpose. Was it genuinely a step toward mending long-standing family rifts, or a meticulously planned spectacle meant to send a message to the world? The leaks raised pressing questions about royal protocol, the limits of discretion, and the delicate line between private family matters and public curiosity. Experts in monarchy and public relations debated whether exposing such intimate details could erode centuries of tradition, where privacy and dignity were once paramount. The carefully cultivated image of the royal family, built over generations through precise appearances and measured statements, suddenly faced unpredictable judgment, shaped not by official communication, but by selectively released, emotionally charged moments. Meghan's influence in shaping the story ensured that the international media did not just report the events. They became part of the narrative itself. Headlines emphasizing emotional vulnerability, tension, and reconciliation framed Harry and Charles in ways that may not have fully reflected reality, but were impossible to ignore. Public trust, often delicately balanced for the monarchy, faced fresh challenges as audiences questioned the family's unity, discretion, and intentions. Credibility, once a quiet, steady pillar of royal authority, now had to contend with speculation, controversy, and the undeniable reach of a worldwide audience eager for every revelation. Meghan's leaks leave a lasting mark on both the royal family and the public's understanding of it. But how far can a private family trust survive under such exposure? Now, let's explore how these leaked secrets threaten royal bonds. Questions of ethics and trust. The act of leaking private family interactions into the public eye is far from harmless. It carries weighty ethical implications. In a world where every moment can instantly reach millions, broadcasting personal and intimate family experiences, particularly ones centered on reconciliation and the vulnerability of loved ones, is fraught with moral risk. Critics have been quick to highlight the dangers. Sharing deeply personal interactions meant to heal or strengthen bonds can inadvertently erode the very trust that families rely on. In the case of Prince Harry and his father, King Charles, the leak of private conversations exposed this fragile trust to a global audience, turning a moment of quiet understanding into fodder for sensational headlines. At the heart of this controversy lies Meghan Markle's role in shaping what information the public receives. By controlling the narrative, she ensured that certain details, every tear, every intimate exchange, every personal reflection, were highlighted, amplified, and broadcast worldwide.
In celebrating the 125th anniversary of women's suffrage in your country.
While some argue this was done to protect Harry's image or explain his perspective, others see it as a deliberate strategy to influence public opinion. The result, however, has been tension that stretches far beyond Harry and Charles. Reports suggest that William and Catherine were also affected, as the portrayal of family dynamics in the media raised concerns about loyalty, discretion, and the sanctity of private conversations. This breach of privacy highlights the growing difficulty of managing family responsibilities in a world dominated by instant media. Moments that were once carefully kept behind palace walls, intimate conversations, heartfelt exchanges, private emotions can now be broadcast, analyzed, and debated globally within hours. In this environment, the boundary between openness and exploitation becomes dangerously thin, leaving even the closest families exposed to misinterpretation and relentless public scrutiny. Every leak, whether deliberate or accidental, carries the potential to reshape relationships, erode trust, and permanently affect reputations. What was meant to be private can swiftly become public drama, leaving lasting consequences for those involved. The controversy surrounding these leaks invites a deeper look at modern celebrity, influence, and the extraordinary reach of today's media. When private family conflicts are broadcast globally, ethical dilemmas are unavoidable. Should moments of personal pain, vulnerability, or reconciliation ever be turned into public narratives? Can strategic leaks truly be justified when they shape how the world sees individuals, especially when children and sensitive conversations are involved? For royal families, who must navigate centuries of tradition, public duty, and scrutiny, these questions carry heightened significance. Every revelation challenges the delicate balance between privacy, trust, and the public's insatiable curiosity. In the case of Harry, Meghan, and Charles, the leaks serve as a cautionary tale. They illustrate how the desire for public influence can clash with the principles of trust, privacy, and ethical responsibility, leaving behind strained relationships and a global audience captivated by drama that was never meant to be public.
And we are so grateful for your hospitality and for the work.
Leaking private family moments for media attention raises serious ethical questions. But how will these actions shape the monarchy's future? Now, let's examine the lasting fallout between King Charles and Prince Harry, the long-term impact on royal dynamics. The recent meeting between King Charles and Prince Harry, meant to be a private and heartfelt effort to mend their strained father-son bond, has unexpectedly transformed into a public spectacle. Once a quiet, intimate conversation, the reunion was quickly thrust into global attention, largely due to carefully timed leaks linked to Meghan Markle. Every shared word and emotional gesture has been dissected, analyzed, and amplified, turning personal reconciliation into headline news. What should have been a moment of trust and healing now tests family loyalty, discretion, and relationships, leaving observers questioning how private royal bonds withstand the glare of worldwide scrutiny. Observers note that while the reunion may have been successful on a personal level, the very act of exposing these private moments has transformed it into a public spectacle. The careful balance between repairing family bonds and maintaining royal decorum has been disrupted, leaving both sides under intense scrutiny. Each hug, emotional exchange, and tender comment that might have served as a bridge between father and son has now been dissected, analyzed, and broadcast worldwide. Meghan Markle's role in controlling which details reached the media ensured that the narrative was framed in a way that amplified both drama and attention, highlighting her growing influence over Harry's public image.
It happened a few weeks ago, earlier this month, here at our cottage.
This revelation has gone far beyond sensational headlines. It has ignited a global conversation about the ethics of exposing private family moments. Critics warn that sharing such intimate interactions erodes trust, not just between Prince Harry and King Charles, but across the entire royal family, affecting relationships with Prince William and the Duchess of Cambridge as well. The leaks have highlighted just how fragile attempts at reconciliation can be when personal matters are thrust into the public eye. What was intended as a careful, private process of healing has instead become a striking example of how deeply personal lives can be shaped and sometimes exploited by media attention. Moreover, the global attention brought on by these leaks has intensified public scrutiny of the monarchy as a whole. Analysts and commentators are now questioning the monarchy's ability to maintain privacy and discretion in the face of strategic narrative control. Meghan and Harry's careful orchestration of what the world sees demonstrates how modern media can blur the line between personal reconciliation and spectacle. Every carefully chosen detail shapes public perception, influencing how millions interpret the monarchy's internal dynamics, decisions, and relationships. Ultimately, the Charles-Harry reunion has become a cautionary tale of modern royal life. While the reunion may have strengthened their personal bond, its public unraveling reminds the world how delicate trust can be, how fragile reconciliation is, and how powerful media influence has become in shaping perceptions. Meghan Markle's actions have left observers debating not only the ethics of disclosure, but also the broader implications for Harry and Meghan's future roles within the monarchy. The story of this reunion serves as a striking example of how deeply private family moments can be transformed into global narratives, forever altering the royal family's internal and public story. So, what do you think the future holds for King Charles and Prince Harry's relationship? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.